Welcome. You're watching Rugby with Rifle, a podcast about all things rugby and life, with your host, Danny Pabone and Rifle Scudder.
Welcome to another episode of Rugby with Rifle, a podcast about all things rugby and life. And as always, I'm joined here by my friend Rifle. Rifle, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Danny. Enjoying all the rugby news currently happening all around the world with coaches moving places, players retiring. So a lot of
Yes.
news in the rugby world, which is good, interesting.
Yes, I'm hearing. I know you shared a few posts and articles, well, actually posts on social media of all the stuff that's happening in the world of rugby. And in this episode, we're going to be speaking or reviewing, I should say, uh, the week 3 of Six Nations, but to touch upon the big news in international rugby, and I'm sure you're happy about this. Felix Jones, considered one of the best defensive minds in or coaches and coach in general in the rugby world, he's been hired back to be on the coaching team for the Springboks. So I'm sure you're happy about that.
Very happy. I've got a huge smile on my face. Felix is amazing. And, if you don't know him or don't know anything about rugby, if you just go look at Chasing the Sun 2, and you'll see what a role he played in South Africa winning the World Cup. I mean, he is phenomenal, but just things he came up with, he's a brilliant coach. So very happy to have him back. I don't know if you know, he went to England after that. He coached
Yes.
England for a while and things didn't work out. I don't know what happened there, but he left. So very, very happy to have him back in South Africa for sure. Springboks are laughing all the way.
And yeah, you just mentioned the Chasing the Sun 2 series. We've brought this series up quite a few times on this podcast. Again, if nobody's watched that series, you need to watch that series. RugbyPassTV.com is the website.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, you create a free account, Chasing the Sun 2. There's also Chasing the Sun 1. It's a series, both series are about South Africa Springboks, uh, their journeys through the 2019 World Cup, which is the Chasing the Sun first series, one, I should say. And then Chasing the Sun 2 is about the 2023 Rugby World Cup journey. So, everybody, if you have it, please go watch that series. And you touched upon this. In that series, I remember there's this one part, not to give too much away, but there's this one part where Felix Jones sits the coaching staff down and points out one little nuance of the French team during this meeting that that impressed all the coaches. Even Rossi was like, "Oh man, that's very good." That's that's one aspect or one nuance that we have to keep a lookout for. And sure enough, that little nuance, that little style of play for the French, it helped the Springboks during that France game, which was an amazing game. That little nuance helped them a lot. So yeah, so Felix Jones was one of the very important parts of you can say. I'm sure there's
Yeah,
many
definitely. Yeah, one of
coaches.
the
Yeah.
reasons that they won. Because, I mean, in today's game, as we've said so many times on this podcast before, it's marginal on the day and anyone can win on any day. And if you just have that small, small, small little advantage for whatever reason, you can win. And that's what exactly happened with South Africa. They just saw what Felix Jones picked up there and they practiced and saw it and it worked for them. And here we are, South Africa winning. But I mean, anyone can win. So coaches, a player misses a kick, someone drops a ball, one little mistake or one little advantage through a coach or something, and that could be the difference between win or loss. That's how close the teams are these days.
Yes, yes, it is, and many agree. You know, the commentators and players and people who really follow the sport. Uh, like you said, rifle is, you know, the top teams. It's like sometimes it's like of, you know, just put the two teams in a hat and pick one out, and that's the team that wins. It's that close a lot of times.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful.
Yeah. So before we get into week three of Six Nations, which again was another amazing weekend of rugby, uh, except for the France Italy game that we'll get into. Um, but uh, other top news is Ireland is losing three very good players to retirement, and they're actually retiring right after Six Nations is over. So,
Correct. Yeah. After the last game at home, they'll be hanging up their boots for good. So three of their stalwarts that have been playing for years are going to give it up and let the younger guys come through and see what they can do. So it's it's sad for world rugby because they were great, good to watch them for many years. Did so much for Ireland, some of them for the British and Irish Lions. So yeah, they're going to be finished. So very very happy day for a lot of other teams in the world because these three guys are really really difficult to face and play against. But a sad day for Ireland and sad day for world rugby to see such stars who have given their all for so many years retire. But hats off to them, they did so great, and hope they do well in future.
yes, yes, and I hope so as well. Like we always say, rugby is a physical sport, and if you're blessed to play many, many years, it's an achievement in any professional sport, but especially in rugby. You know, and it's
Yeah,
just like American football. I
hard on the
think,
body.
yeah, I think in American football, um, the average career is like 4 or 5 years. Part of it is it's such a hard sport, and you know some players just are not good enough, and eventually they get cut for the team. And the other part of it is just, you know, it's such a tough sport, and you know, a sport like rugby and American football, it puts a big toll on your body, and after a few years, you really have to be in tip-top shape and do all the work necessary to recover.
Yeah,
If you don't do that, it's a grueling sport. But you know, all the best to those players who are going to retire. And like you said, you know, it's going to
new
be
talent
easier for
coming
other
through.
teams.
Yeah,
Okay, so like I said before, you know, now that we got, you know, some, not all, but some of the big news that's happened over the past few days in the world of international rugby, now we're going to get to week three of the Six Nations. So let's just dive in quickly. So these are the three matches that occurred uh, over this past weekend, from the time of this recording. And as you can see here, actually the first match was closer than what the score indicates here, and we'll go over that when we review this game. Wales and Ireland. Ireland uh, defeated the Welsh for, so that's what, 15 in a row now losses for the Wales now, unfortunately.
yeah.
But it was a lot closer, and like I said, we'll get into that when we talk about this game. England survives another game, another again, uh,
Another
another
rabbit
game
out of
the
the hat
English should
win.
have lost, but somehow won. And that's not being negative to England, but that's just the truth of it. And again, we'll we'll talk about that game when we'll get to that game as well. We're gonna cover each game and the slaughter. or the massacre or the butt whooping, whatever you want to call it, of France and Italy. Wow, that was just a massacre. And I don't know if you recall, Rifle, when we had mentioned the schedule a couple of episodes ago, and we were talking about France and Italy. I remember stating, God bless Italy. I'm praying for
Yeah.
you. If France hits on all cylinders, it's good. It's just gonna be bad. I feel bad for you, Italy, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. They came back with a vengeance after losing their previous game. They had something to prove, the French.
Yeah, yes, they did, and that's exactly what they did. They proved some to the world that why France is considered one of the best team. Um, top top two, I would say. South Africa. Some people say South Africa, Ireland, France. Others would say South Africa, France, Ireland. So depending on who you ask, definitely the top three. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, yeah, you got New Zealand in there as
Oh,
well.
New
So
Zealand. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. No disrespect to New Zealand.
yeah. So those
Sorry, New
four.
Zealand. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
France is maybe 3 and 4, depending
yeah.
on who you ask.
Well,
My
we'll
apologies to New
see the
Zealand.
next weekend they play. That's going to be phenomenal. We'll
Yes,
see what happens.
yes. That we'll see. So let's get to the first game here, and we'll discuss two plays that I wanted to highlight here. But first, let's just so Rifle, before this game, a lot of commentators and podcasters, rugby podcasters were saying, I think it was a 90% chance of Ireland win. A lot of people were saying that's it's not going to be pretty. Ireland is just going to run over all over Wales, even with a coaching change. Everybody thought Ireland was going to be dominant, but that wasn't the case in this match.
No, Wales came out. The Dragon had some more fire in it. It seemed like they were leading at some stage of the game. And there you got the picture there. You'll talk about it just now, but a try that was disallowed. Very, very close. They were leading at that stage. So if that try had been allowed, my goodness, it would have just changed the game completely. But well done to Wales. They really, really stuck it out. They were leading for some time. So Ireland not as dominant on the day as people thought. New captain, their regular captain injured, so a new captain brought on. Took them quite a while to find themselves, so to speak. They were chasing. It's not very often that Ireland has to come from behind, especially against Wales. So they were in quite a position that they're not normally finding themselves in. They had to fight back to come through with a win. But that's what a good team does. You play, you keep calm, you just let the other team play and make their mistakes, and don't try and push and force anything into the game. And that's what they did. They just stuck to their guns and just played calm. I must say, when they brought their reserves on, Bundy Aki, I mean, he made a huge difference. What he did in the midfield there, I don't know if you saw a picture after the game, but he had some of the field rubbings on him. He was bleeding. The jersey was white with blood and black. It was just, oh my goodness, he looked like a monster.
Mm-hmm.
But he played so well, and he really brought a lot of energy for Ireland when he came on. So that was a good move for them to bring him on. But as you say, 27-18 seems like Ireland. If you just see the score, it was an easy game. It was everything but easy for the Irish. So well done to Wales.
Yes, and you just mentioned. Please remind me his name. How you pronounce Aki?
Aki, yeah, Bundi
Aki.
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 Yeah.
I believe in the last game Ireland played, was he the player? He had like a big gash on the side of his head and was bleeding also, or was that another player? I know an Irish player in the previous game had a big gash. I believe it was him. I may be mistaken.
Mm.
Um, had a big gash in the previous game, had blood all over the jersey, just kept playing with blood
Yeah.
coming off the side of his head. I was like,
Or
man,
that
this
piece
is
of
truly
cotton
a.
wool in his nose hanging out.
I was
Yeah.
like, man, this is truly a manly sport. I mean, that he just kept playing and
Yeah.
not a worry in the world. So yeah, this game was a lot closer than the score indicates, and the score was it 13-13 or 18-18? I forget. No, it was 13-13, I believe. So the score was like 13-13 or 18-18. I forget. But the score was tied like 65 minutes into the game. And I believe Ireland scored or something like that. So it was tied up to, with 15 minutes left in the match. So it was really a wonderful game to see, and it was a totally different Wales team. And just reading part of it was because, they the selection of the team, which was something that Gatlin was criticized for, and just moving players around, that made a huge difference as well, and
Yeah.
and just you know just reading just the Wales team spreading the field, have making the Irish defense having to defend the whole field instead of just trying to run it up
Just in the
physical up the
middle.
middle.
Yeah.
So that are
And
all things that you really didn't see in the first two games with Wales and the first two
yeah, they
games of Six
brought back
Nations.
some older players, experienced guys that also when you're in a game and you got those guys that have been there before and they've learned how to stay calm under pressure. That helps a lot because you've got a lot of youngsters in the team, and bringing back the experience, it just balances them out. So that was a good move as well. So yeah, as you said, Ireland didn't run holes through them. They had to really, really fight for their tries and all of that. So Wales did pretty good on the day. It was good for them. I'm happy for them. So there's new vigor in them now that maybe they can win a game, in the Six Nations. And then next year, when I think they play Japan, I'll be looking forward to that. So they looking a little bit better than what they did in the last 13 games. Let's put it like that.
They could um, continue on to improve from this game and
Yeah,
get that the
definitely.
first win. So the two uh, just plays that I want to just touch upon here, and let me just zoom in on this here. So I chose this play was just a thing of beauty, and that's why I chose just to focus on this play and remember everybody that in rugby the ball has to be passed backwards. The only way the ball could move forward is if you kick it forward. And this play, as you can see, and let me just play. This is just the thing of beauty here. So we have the kick, little alley oop here. Wow, that was just an amazing play. I mean, when I saw this play live, I was like, wow, perfect kick, perfect timing of the jump, pass back, try. So I
James
just
Lowe,
wanted
yeah,
to,
he's really, really good. He's probably one of Ireland's best players. So really
yeah,
strong. He kicks well, defends well. He does everything. So one of their top players, and it's going to be interesting to see who they take for the British and Irish Lions tour if he'll make it. But that
mm,
was absolutely just what rugby IQ to be able to stay in the field, not go out, pump it back to your fullback coming through and him waiting, seeing maybe something's going to be happening there. So yeah, it was just absolute, just magic. It was a great piece of rugby that.
Yes, yes, it was. Beautiful play. Now, the next play is was a controversial call, needless to say, and that's an understatement. Now, I've watched this play like about, I don't know, 30, 40 times, just kept replaying it, replaying it, replaying it, replaying it. Half of the time I see, well, let me just play the video here. So as you can see here, oh, you know what? Let me just lower this here a little bit. There we go. And let me just replay it. So I've watched this play like 20 times. Oh, like 40 times, I should say. So we have here, he's short of the try line. So at first, this play was called a try. It was ruled a try. But then the TMO chimed in and said, hey, let's look at this play again.
Review the play, yeah.
Yeah, let's review the play. So what I see here is his, I don't know if you can see it, and please excuse my replay video. I don't have millions of dollars of equipment like the professionals do. But right here, you can see, and if you watch it live, this is what I see. You can see a space between the ball and his fingertips right here. And again, it's blurry here, but if you watch it live. So once his fingertips come off the ball, and it's maybe half an inch off the ball. I mean, it's barely half off the ball. I would say probably there's maybe half an inch between his fingertips and the ball. So his fingertips comes off the ball. It's short. And now the end of the play is his fingertips come back on the ball. The ball moves forward into the try zone. And the TMO ruled that it was a knock-on. Try overturned. But when I listen to other commentators and podcasters say, oh, his fingers never left the ball. That should have been a try. That's BS. I don't know what they're seeing. For me, I watched it 40 times. His fingertips did leave the ball for like a split second. It's like a half an inch of space between the fingertips and the ball. So technically it is a knock-on. So, but it's a controversial call nonetheless. I don't know.
And
What's your thoughts,
if they did give
Rifle?
them that try for whatever reason, you know, Ireland would really be in a lot of trouble then,
Yeah.
because that was coming to the end and then they were going to be behind and they would have to really, really pull something out of their hat to win that game. So they were very fortunate, lucky, you know, that the call went their way and the
Yes.
try was reversed. So that's good for Ireland.
Yeah. Yeah. They definitely were. Um, it's one of those plays where if it would have been called a try, probably nobody would have ever noticed it. Maybe Wales wins, pulls the biggest upset probably in years in
Yeah.
international rugby, and nobody will ever speak about this game ever again. But
Mm.
because it did happen and the try was overturned, because the ruling on the field was a try and it was overturned, that's why that play became controversial. But again, this is my opinion. Who am I? Who am I? I'm no nobody. In my opinion, it was technically the right call because his hands, again, there was space between the ball and his fingertips. So technically, it was a knock on. Wales, you're so close.
Yeah. Well done, Wales.
So yeah, so again, that's why we say this game was a lot closer than the score indicates. But great game nonetheless.
Mm.
So the second match of the weekend was England and Scotland. As you can see here, the final score was 16 for England, 15 for Scotland. Okay. I don't know what to say about this game. But
Well,
England
you can start
survives.
off with a reffing in the game. There were so many
I'm trying not
mistakes
to
in
go
this
there,
game.
Rifle. I'm trying not to be that guy.
So in that previous one we watched, they looked so many times at that try and then disallowed it. There were so many things in this game. A try for England that everyone would say, why did they not recheck that? Why did they not go to the TMO?
Yes.
So many things. Once again, as we said before, that well during the program, 16-15, 1 point the difference, and England were very, very fortunate to win this game. Once again, like I said previously, they had to fight till the end, so good for them. But if you look at the stats, how much ball Scotland had, how much possession they had, one would think if you just looked at the stats that they would have, definitely they would have won this game, but they didn't. Finn Russell, couple of mistakes, especially with his boot. 1 point. If he kicked one, he missed three, I believe. If he kicked one of those over, it could have been a different outcome of the game. So yeah, just a lot of things that happened in this game. Some penalties that were given to England, where you could definitely see, according to the rules, we won't go into depth now, but at at the maul and the ruck, you got to be on your own feet. You got to be holding your own weight up. That wasn't happening sometimes. In any case, at the end of the day, England survive another game. They not only survive, they come through with a win. So more points for them. So this just adds to this competition becoming pretty close now, especially depending on what's going to happen in the next game between France and uh, and Ireland. What's going to happen there? But I think Scotland should have won this game, no doubt. The kicks they missed, the possession they had, but then a try that was given. So it was a difficult. It was good rugby sometimes, but even the English got very angry with the style of play that England played. They just kicked and kicked and kicked and kicked, and their own supporters started booing and shouting at one stage. Just really getting upset with the fact that they want to see running rugby. They want to see the ball pass. They want to see guys put into space, and they just didn't do it. So there were patches of good things happening and so on, but it was 16-15 at the end, a nail biter. And literally, I mean, Finn Russell, the last kick of the game, if he put the kick over, Scotland would have won. It would have been a
Yes.
completely different discussion in how people look at this game. So it had a bit of absolutely everything in it. But at the end of the day, England 16, Scotland 15. Move on. There's nothing you can do about spilt milk.
Yeah, yeah, it's very unfortunate. And like I said, I didn't want to go down that route, but I rewatched this game the next day, and you know, this is just my opinion. The officiating was substandard. Let's just put it that way. And I get, referees are human. They miss things, but there was quite a few instances where um, a penalty should have been called but wasn't. For example, you mentioned, in one of the rucks, the English captain Itoje was off his feet and grabbed the ball, and referee didn't call anything, and you can actually hear Finn Russell come up to the referee. Hey, he was off his feet. Well, you didn't see that. You were right in front of him.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. I don't remember what the referee said, but and then you could see the frustration on Finn Russell's face. Telling the referee, hey, just look at the big screen. You told
Yeah.
he was off his feet.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that call didn't go Scotland's way. Um, and like you just mentioned, Finn Russell missing all three conversion kicks. So,
Yeah.
he didn't have
And
such a great game.
England's defense was lacking. I mean, Scotland came out right in the beginning. Within the first couple of minutes, they scored a beautiful try, and you thought, my goodness, the Scots are back. They're gonna, if they keep it up like this. But they had England. I'm telling you, England defense was not the best. So they're definitely going to have to work on that and try and fill up the gaps in what they were doing wrong. But as we said, at the end of the game, Scotland should have, could have, would have, but they just didn't. So England hung in there. They played till the end and had a few couple of calls going their way, rub of the green, as we say. But, they got 16 and Scotland 15 at the end of the day.
Yep, yes. And as in any sport, um, any sport, you get calls against you that shouldn't have been, and sometimes you get a call that you get lucky, and a call another team and shouldn't have been either. So it goes both ways. And it's like you said, at the end of the day, you have to perform. If the referees are off a little bit during that match or game, it's on you to do, play your part and make sure that you do your part and and maximize your opportunities.
Right.
And
At least get your
unfortunately,
kicks over.
you were, yes,
At least do that.
that's
Yeah.
3 opportunities lost there. So
Right.
it's on Scotland to really, maximize the opportunities, which they didn't do this game, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And just the one play I wanted to highlight here was a try by Scotland. Uh, and again, I just love watching these games and just watching a beautifully run play, and you just I'm just amazed at when a try is scored in such a magnificent way, and this definitely was one of those plays. So in this play here, we have, again, just going to zoom in. So in this play here, we have Scotland here. Sorry guys, my computer just froze here. There we go. Okay, so in this play, this is coming off a line out that was awarded to Scotland. And again, this is just a thing of beauty. So we see here that the ball was passed back here. And I don't know if that's Finn Russell. I'm not sure who that is at this moment here. So you can see the ball in the Scottish player's hands. And just the speed of the reversal of the field is just amazing in this play, as you're gonna see here. Let me just press play here. So we have here, boom, 1 pass, 2 passes, 3 passes, 4 passes, 5 passes, 6 passes, and score. I mean, it was just such a thing of beauty, and if I could just play that, it was such a beautiful play, and this is why, like you've mentioned so many times, Rifle, this is a team sport. This is why you always want your teammates to be with you at all times. Um, you know, because of plays like this, when you have teammates following you and you have opportunities when gaps open up, a teammate's behind you, you pass it behind them, then they just run through those gaps that open up when you reverse the field like that.
Yeah.
You tend to have the gaps open up in the defense because it happens so quick. So yeah, that's one play that I wanted to highlight in this game. It was such a beautiful play to watch live.
Yeah, and there again, Scotland running and England's defence, they couldn't stop them. And one would think with plays like that, and it happened quite regularly, that England's defence slipped up that Scotland would have been able to pull it through, but they just couldn't do it on the day.
Yep, yep. And again, England survives.
Yep.
But a win is a win, right?
Yes, no,
That's the
certainly.
game. That's sports. Whether it's ugly or beautiful, a win is a
Yeah,
win.
you'd rather take the win.
Okay, and the third game, uh, the massacre in Rome. I don't know what you want to call this game. It was just, it was just. I mean, what else can we say?
Yeah, we've got to remember what happened the previous time these two teams played, not one another, but France played, they lost.
Mhm.
Italy played, they won. So Italy was coming off a high, beating Wales, and France, they lost to England by 1 point. Is that correct?
Yep.
So they had something to prove. And it just so happened to be that one team did very, very well, the other team did not do well, and both of them had to, because you got to fight that in your head. Italy played so well, they did good, they're not getting the wooden spoon, everything is good. And France, they lost to England, it was not good, they should, all of that. So they coming out to prove something, changed a couple of players, a lot of talk about why they changed, won't go into that. But they came out. I mean, did you see Italy's try in the beginning? I mean, it
Oh,
was just
yes.
phenomenal how they play, and you think, oh my goodness, Italy. But as soon as the first, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes were over, and France settled into their style of playing,
Hmm.
and they could start dominating the game and do with Italy what they wanted to. I mean, the floodgates just opened, and they, what was it, 13 scores, 13 tries. So it was amazing scoring wise. And as you said before, I think the second highest score in the Six Nations. But France just absolutely a well oiled machine. Once they position themselves correctly, once they slow down, it was brilliant to see what they could do. And Dupont, they gave him a lot of space. And when you give him space and let him run, he's going to work some magic. So it was a bit of Italy coming off of a high, France coming off of a low, these two clashing with those mindsets still fresh. So it was a tough day at the office for Italy at the end of it.
Yes, yes, it was. It was a very tough day at the office. It's probably a huge understatement. um, so yeah, and the theme, just watching this game, I would say probably the first 8 to 10 minutes. France had a couple of handling errors, fumbled the ball a couple of times. So like the first 8 minutes or so, 8 or 10 minutes, I was like, oh, France again fumbling the ball. They're gonna play like this again. Keep Italy uh, in the game. Then France scored their first try like 8 minutes into the game or something like that, 7 or 8 minutes into the
Mm.
game, and then Italy scored a try. So it was back and forth. Then France scored the second try, and after the second try, it's like they flipped the switch and then they just
Everything came together.
started steamrolling the Italians. So yeah,
Yeah,
after the second try, it was just a slaughter.
yeah,
After France scored the second try,
yeah.
and yeah, it's. I mean, there's not much else to say. This is uh, so France scored 11 tries, one short of the record
Mm.
of the most tries. And I just looked this up. If and by the way, if there's any rugby professionals out there, this is from Wikipedia. So if Wikipedia is not accurate, please forgive me. But according to Wikipedia, France scored the most tries scored in a match in Six Nations by one team was 12, and that was Scotland in 1897 or something like that.
Yeah, way back in the day
So yeah, so way back in the day. So France was
when Wikipedia wasn't around.
there you go. Yeah, this was what 110 years before Wikipedia. So yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, so it was just a historic game for France, and unfortunately, the Italians were part of it.
Right. Italy got in the way.
Yeah. So the two plays that I wanted to highlight in this match is actually one play from each team. Well, with France, there's in this match with France, there's probably 6 or 7 tries that I could have shown everybody and just be like, wow, what a wonderful play. Because they were hitting on all cylinders, France was. So, like I said, I could have picked 6 or 7 tries from France, but I only chose one because we only have, we don't do a 2 or 3 hour episode because there was so many things that you could just watch in this game and with France and be like, wow, that was amazing. Um, but this first play is actually a try that was scored by Italy. I believe this was their first try.
Yeah, the first one it seems like, and you can see the French defense here. Italy did very well, but they slipped up a little bit in the midfield there with their defense. And when you play, you'll see what happens.
Yes. So this play was coming out of the ruck here, and this player right here was passed the ball at this moment, and this is where the play starts. Well, this is where this replay that I have starts from. So as you can see here, again, this player right here has the ball. Oh, so we have one pass, and that was just a thing of beauty there. So if you missed that, I had to watch this like 2 or 3 times because I missed it because it happened so quick. I saw the player running towards the try. I was like, wait a minute, he has the ball? I thought the other player still had the ball. It
Exactly. How
happened
did he
so
get through there?
it happened
That's
so
the
quick.
question. Yeah.
So I'm gonna show it again right there. So this player has the ball right there. He's gonna pass it to this player, and this player, I don't know how, manages to go through these 2 players right here, which was a thing of beauty. So let's watch that again. Boom. Wow, what a play.
Lovely.
So yeah, so I actually, like I said, had to watch that play 2 or 3 times. I'm thinking the other player still had the ball, and I'm wondering, I'm like, why is the camera following that player? And then I realized, oh my, he had passed there. I was like, I didn't even realize it happened so quick. So yeah, that was a beautiful play. Now the next play I wanted to highlight, and again, I could have picked at least 6 or 7 try scores from France that was amazing. But I decided to pick this play. So right here we have Dupont is right. Well, you can't see it, but again, a ruck. This is a play out of the ruck. Dupont is, I believe, it's this player right here. So Dupont is taking the ball. So the again, the timing of DuPont and Gibson Park has this quality as well. Their timing is amazing. It's like they have, I don't know, it's like they have eyes all around their heads because the way they see the field and the timing of passes is just it's a beautiful thing to watch. So if I'm gonna run this play here. So we have here the ball's. So I'm gonna replay it. So right there, this I think that's Dupont if I'm not mistaken. Um, so this French player has the ball here. This Italian player is coming to tackle him. Now he's looking for this player to see if this player commits to him or is he gonna stay there and watch this player right here. The second that player commits to Dupont, the second he commits to Dupont, Dupont passes the ball, and you could see what was the final thing of the play, which was a score, a try was scored. So it's just amazing to watch his, IQ, looking at that player, seeing seeing if he's going to commit. That player does commit to him, and at the last second before he's tackled, he passes the ball, and that creates the try opportunity.
Danny,
I
if you
mean,
can
it's
just
just
take it back to where you started there, where Dupont has the ball,
okay.
just to the beginning of the play, because Italy are in trouble already when he just breaks around.
Okay.
So when he goes around there, go another second or so. Yeah, stop. Can you see there on the left? Look at the white jerseys. How many white players have you got there?
You got one, two, three.
How many blue guys ahead of them?
One, two.
Right. So they've got an overlap already. So Italy already in trouble because you've got an overlap, which means you have more white guys in the line that can get the ball than blue guys that can tackle them. So all you have to do is you just keep the ball and see if the guy commits to you, he's taken out, you can pass the ball. If he doesn't commit to you and he goes because he sees there are more white guys on the outside, then you just take the gap. So Italy here, even when this play just started, they're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So unless France knock the ball or something really ridiculous happens, it should be a try because there's a huge overlap there. Those two can't take out. Dupont's got the ball, so he's one, and then you've got three that he can pass to. So good rugby from France, and maybe one of these guys could break off the back of Italy. There you can see one guy starting to move with a blue jersey in that
Yes,
direction, but
you
it's
could
already
tell
too late.
that this player right here saw what was going on, and
Right,
he's trucking it, trying to get over there to cover this gap right here.
right, but it's too
And
late. Yeah,
yeah,
so
and you could tell. I could imagine what's going through his head. He's like, no, no. He's probably running over there, trying to get over there.
yeah, so they were in trouble as the move started. They had a huge overlap.
Yes, and let me just play it one more time. Wow. And that player did get there. He just got there a split second too late. If that Italian player was in front of him, probably would have made the tackle. But the fact that he got a split second late and he was only able to get the side of his body, he was able to put momentum into his movement. France scores a try.
Yeah,
Okay, so like I said, I probably could have picked at least six French players score tries, but I only picked one. So yeah, so that's France and Italy in a nutshell. So it's interesting. So these are the Six Nation points standings after week 3. Ireland is in the number 1 position after week 3. So you had mentioned before, Rifle, that the next game is France and Ireland. Not this weekend. This weekend is another bye, so the following weekend. So yeah, that's gonna be a big game. France and Ireland. This game could potentially determine the winner of the Six Nations.
it could. And like we said 2 weeks ago, it's now Ireland's to lose because they haven't lost a game. France has lost, Ireland haven't. So if they really, really throw it away against France, then it's their fault because they're sitting very comfortably there with 14 and France 3 points behind them.
Mm-hmm.
So all they got to do is just ride out the game, and the competition is there for the three-peat. But man, I think France are going to come out like they did against Italy, and I'm looking forward to that game. It's going to be great.
Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. We're gonna see. That's gonna be probably um a game. Well, everybody is anticipating that game, France and Ireland. It's definitely
Yeah,
gonna be a good one. It's gonna be interesting to see if France comes out firing on all cylinders again, it's going to be a tough matchup for the Irish.
Yeah,
And if both France and Ireland are on top of the games, uh,
going to be some good rugby.
going to be some really good rugby. It's like um, in American football, they always say those one possession game where it's
Mm,
back and forth, and it's the first team to make a mistake at the end that's going to lose.
yeah, could be.
So hopefully it turns out that way.
Yeah.
Okay, so like we had mentioned, so week 4 or 5 of the Six Nations, again by this weekend from the time of this recording. So the next games are going to be on March 8th with France and Ireland. Oh, France and Ireland is the first game. Okay, so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Early game. And then we have Scotland and Wales and England and Italy. So it's interesting that Scotland and Wales game to see how Wales come out and see if they improve on their performance with their performance against Ireland. Let's see.
Yeah, Scotland under quite a bit of pressure now, losing games that they should have won. So they really need to pick up their game. So that's going to be very, very important for them to win and win well. So, but we'll wait because Ireland facing France and Wales do not want to lose another one. So they're going to give their all. So it's going to be good.
Yeah, yes, it is. It's gonna be another great weekend of rugby, as always,
Most
in the Six Nations.
definitely, yes. Very excited for it.
So, everyone, that's our recap of week 3 of the Six Nations series. And what a weekend it was. And looking forward to week 4. It's going to be another great weekend.
Could you try again?
So, technology.
Yeah,
So, yeah, looking forward to that, Rifle.
going to be some good games, and yeah, it keeps me awake and waiting for the weekend. There's that song, everybody's working or living for the weekend. So during the Six Nations, it's definitely that.
Yes, yes, yes. So, like we have mentioned in another episode, this year is going to be a great year of rugby with the British and Lions tour, and also the Women's World Cup is going to be this summer. So, we're going to have to maybe
Follow
do
that
a
a little
little
bit.
episode. Yeah, it should be very interesting. With
Yeah.
uh, I'm hearing again, just learning the sport of rugby. I'm hearing England is the English women team is very strong, and they're right now considered the favorites to win the Rugby World Cup. So we'll see if that happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
So with that, everyone, again, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the recap of Week 3, Six Nations. Rifle, as always, thank you, sir.
No, very welcome. Thanks everyone for watching. See you in 2 weeks' time for the next big game.
Yes. So with that, everyone, I hope you enjoyed. And until next time, take care.
Stay well, everyone.
Thank you for watching this episode of Rugby with Rifle. Remember to press the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet to support this podcast.